How far, Naija? My name is Jefferson Clever and you're welcome to this week's episode of Naija Talk Talk. For this week's episode, we're going to be asking Nigerians, why do they think men marry more than one wife? I mean, we know that in the African culture, there are things that are accepted and there are things that are seen as not accepted in the society. So let's hear from Nigerians themselves. Why do they think men marry more than one wife? And what impact does it have on the children that are born into such polygamous homes? The wives as well, how does this affect them? What can be done to make sure that we reduce polygamy if it is seen as a problem by many? Let's go, Naija.
Marriage is between a man and a woman who agree that they are in love and want to spend their time together.
Most marriages are contracted on wrong perspective.
Most of them marry more than one wife because they want to have more children. At times they feel their wealth won't be enough for one wife, so they need more than one.
Some men, they can't stop doing it.
According to African culture, if you want to trace history, you would hear things like those days you need a lot of wives so you can have more children because they wanted to expand their empire. Some would say, okay, because of farm work, you need children to help you work on farms.
I feel like men are very polygamous in nature.
Men are not the same because as it is with me, I'm living with one wife and I'm satisfied on her.
The idea of marrying multiple wives is risk.
Polygamy is not compulsory Islamically for a Muslim man. The verse of the Quran that teaches about polygamy is in the Quran 4 verse 3, where Allah said, if you know that you cannot deal justly with the orphans, you can marry 2-2 or 3-3 or 4-4. But if you know that you cannot be just between the wives that you marry, then marry only one.
Most reasons why people opt out for a second wife is mostly that the person doesn't have the fear of God. If you've not seen another partner that has the fear of God, you want to bring that partner in. That person is not resourceful. The person is a wasteful kind of woman or a wasteful kind of man. You want to leave to go to someone that is resourceful. Now, another thing that the man or the woman doesn't have character.
I feel it's out of greed. They believe the woman they are with does not have certain qualities and they don't really want to work on her for her to be able to get those qualities. They think that going to the next person is going to make a better marriage.
In the modern society, most women are willingly going into playing the part of a second wife. She has found a man who is rich enough and capable enough to take care of her wants. She will willingly subject herself to playing the second fiddle.
When you're growing up, you see what your father did and you pick some good from bads and all that. So I believe that most of them are gotten from the religious aspect. Most of them are done based on the rituals and most of them are done based on the traditions. So it depends on the context at which you're coming from that you make these decisions. So for the Christians, we actually believe that it's wrong to get more than one wives.
Allah God Almighty permit polygamy so that you can marry those women that were left with orphans so that you can help them.
Poverty is one of those strong determinant factors because the economy in the country can actually make somebody get frustrated up to the point of giving his young daughter to a man who is old enough to be his own age.
Out of frustration, you've trained a child and the child has passed the age of getting married and obviously there's no man coming to ask her hand in marriage and you feel at that point, at that age at which she is, you feel that anybody that comes up is the right person for her because you just want her to just settle.
For a woman that cannot find a husband, it is necessary, it's very, very good for her to accept to be married to someone that has already been married.
I don't think any sane person would want to give out his daughter as a second wife, especially to an old man. Do you get?
Some of the parents, especially the women, they don't really care. To them, they just feel it's a man's world. Once you begin to have this ideology that it's a man's world, a man can have whatever he wants, you wouldn't care to give your daughter out to a married man who has one wife or two wives or three wives. All you just care is the bride price, what I would gain as my in-law is prominent, he can give this and that. But they don't think about the impact on the girl. They don't think about the joy and the pain she would have to live with through the years.
I condemn giving out a young child, out for marriage to be a second wife.
Greed has led so many men choose to marry more than one woman at a time. Discontentment. When a woman also gives a man a problem, challenges at home, when there is no peace. The man will always want to go for a woman who will give him the needed peace at home.
A lot of youth now know the problem, effect of that, making wife marry 2, 3, up to 4. Because even single one, if you are not the steady person that you are leg large in ground, you can't control a woman. Bears with 2, 3 children up to like that, cause of situation of today and tomorrow.
The effects, we have a lot, lack of love, trying to share properties and all that.
Depression is there because I wouldn't imagine my husband bringing in a second wife.
In that sort of home, there's always like quarrel every day and fights.
When a second wife is brought in, the first woman will never be happy. The shock will make her to refrain, withdraw. The sudden disconnection between the husband and the woman will always cause a setback. The woman will have to contend with another woman to seek the husband's attention. Depression, breakdown in communication, lack of development in that home. Because once there's breakdown in communication, there will be no development. There will be no longer reasoning together in order to enforce development. So it affects the family seriously. The woman can also die.
I know of a family where even if you go, you won't know that they are from different parents, like different mothers. That's the reason being maybe the father or the mothers were able to bring them up in the way they want them to grow. But most family, you see war, you see hatred. As when I mean hatred, maximum hatred, where you wouldn't want to see your sibling. Reason being, my mother was the first, your mother came in.
Psychologically, most of them grow with that kind of mentality, and they feel marrying more than one wife, just like their parents did, is the right thing.
Some men don't even know the names of all the children.
Most children need more attention. And when you now have more than what your hands can carry or your brains can carry, you see that you now falter.
Prophet Muhammad has taught us that when you have multiple children or wives, it is compulsory for you to treat them equally in terms of gifts, in terms of treatment, in terms of education, and whatsoever.
Being contented with what you have, knowing fully well that you can work on what you have to achieve whatever you want to get.
If you want to have a good family, you want your family to be very alright, at least you need to get one wife. Even if you are this type that wants to go outside, but you should not be the one that wants you to get another wife or child outside. It should be just normal sneaking in here, yes, you understand?
Those outside Islam, it is just left for them to try to find out and study and know their culture and know why the Muslims does it.
So you've heard it all from Nigerians. They've had their different opinions as to why men take more than one wife. They've also had to tell us why they think families let out their children to become second, third or fourth wives to any man. And it has been thoughtful for many Nigerians. And we are also trying to buttress the point that our topic for today has not been religiously inclined. The school of thought has been based on the African concept of what marriages should be, that men are allowed to have more than one wife. The conversation continues, so you can drop your own personal opinion on our comment section. Do well to follow Didi Production on all the social media handles displayed on the screen to get updates every Friday when we drop a new video. Thank you, Naija, for staying with us. See you next Friday.
Didi Productions, we tell your story by capturing every moment and preserving your memories.